So today we're going to be drawing a candle. I'm going to draw kind of a fat, skinny candle. If you want to do like one of the tall candles, I'll also put the video on there that you could watch. You'll notice the way I'm holding the pencil isn't how you normally hold it to write, kind of holding it from the side, which is going to help us when we're adding the values. But you can also do that when you're drawing if you prefer to kind of sketch something out, because you can get some really light lines, unlike when you're writing and trying to get a really dark line. Like here, when I'm making this wick, I want this to be a little bit darker, so I'm holding it a little more like a traditional way of holding a pencil. The flame is sort of like this little teardrop shape, and inside it, where the flame's darker, I'm going to make it a little backwards J. I'm going to draw some of the little drippings along the side where the wax is melted and running down the side of the candle. I'm also going to do some of that on the surface of the candle too. So there's a couple of drips. And then a little bit of dripping down along the edge. Now, when we get into the values of it, the shading that we're talking about, what we want to do is make it darker around the edges of the candle and then gradually get lighter. So we're starting with a darker value along the edge and then getting into lighter values the closer we get towards the middle. So I'm going to do the same thing on the other side so that it's darker around the edge and then getting lighter the closer we get towards the middle. Now, one of the things I don't want to do, I don't want to get this candle so it looks black. So I'm doing some gray tones in there, but not getting it super, super dark because the background's going to end up being really dark. Now, as I'm doing this, I'm leaving the middle of it really light. Here I'm adding a little bit of shadow around the candle drips, wax drippings. I'm going to go through and make the sides a little bit darker on each end of it. And as you can see, the middle it's lighter, getting darker towards the edges. But we're also going to do that from the top to the bottom because the light of the candle, the flame is the lightest part. So as we get farther from that flame, it should be getting darker. So not only are we doing some value, darker value along the edges, getting lighter in the middle, but we're also going from the top to bottom of the candle with the lightest part being at the top and then the darkest part being at the bottom of it. Now, one thing that's going to help us a lot is smudging it with your finger, smearing the pencil graphite, or lead as it's sometimes called, because we don't really want stripes of values of lighter or darker parts. We want it to gradually go from the lighter to the darker. So using your finger, it's going to get messy, but we're going to smudge it. Now on the top oval of that cylinder, I'm going to also do the same kind of thing. I'm going to make it a little bit darker around the edges, but leave it white in the middle. I'm going to leave a little white, like a little rim around it too, so that the edge of that cylinder looks white, and then it's darker within there, and then it's white in the middle where the wick is sticking out, where the flame is. And I'm going to smudge there within the flame too, make the wick a little bit darker so it doesn't look blurry. The wick is one of the few actual lines you would see in the candle. Now, as we start to go around the edges, and I'm adding value around there, one of the problems is if you have too much of the same value, it all sort of blurs together. So we want to make it really dark around the candle. Make almost like there's a shadow that's going to go all the way around the candle. Where it's closest to the candle, it's going to be the darkest. So I'm really going to get a really dark value. Could be solid black or even close to black. I'm speeding it up a little bit because otherwise you'll be just watching me do that darkness all around there, and it would take a long time. So here I'm filling in the darkness, then past the really dark part, I'm making it lighter than it was. So a lighter value after that really dark blackish part. So that around the candle itself, it's super dark and then getting lighter. And smudging that too. But when we smudge that, we want to make sure that you're not smudging it into the candle. You don't want the background to smudge over the edge of the candle itself and make it all one smeary mess. We want to keep the background looking separate from the candle itself. Then for the bottom of it, the base, I'm going to make it dark around there, speeding it up a little bit so that it's really a dark black value, and then lighter as you get past that. And you can smudge along there too, so that there's almost like this all around the candle is this real darkness, and then smudge it so it's starting to get lighter. Um, Here I'm just sort of going back, adding some details, making it darker even around the edge. And now those strips of the candle, to make those look even a little more realistic, I'm putting a little dark shadow along the bottom and the side of the drips, so that it looks like it's an actual three-dimensional drip with just a little bit of shadow underneath there on each one of them. And I'm going to smear that too, so that it doesn't look too much like pencil lines that I'm filling in. I'm going to make it darker, that top oval of the cylinder around there, make it a little more. And as you're doing it, it's kind of like I don't know, like building something out of clay. You keep adding more, and then you smudge more, and then you add a little more. Um, but making sure that you've got it lightest around the middle and then darker around the edges, both on the candle itself and on the top of it too. Um, Even the light of the candle has that little flickering in the middle and then light around the edges. Um, and voila, here we have values to make a candle.